This is week 4 of our 4-week program. I want to point out 2 chord hand skills to you before I go to the rhythm hand, because we've actually finished all the chord hand work at this stage. Last week I didn't go near this A chord because there's a problem when we do this one. If we use these 3 fingers and run down the guitar, we quickly run out of frets and it doesn't fit. The correct way to do that is to use your 3rd finger for the A instead of your 1st, 2nd and 3rd. But the reason I've avoided it is because it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to groove this skill. I've left it until last, and I want to show you a little exercise to help you with it. If I can get the angle, there's a backwards bend that you need to be able to play the type of bar chord I'm demonstrating here. And the advantage is that you can then take this chord all the way down the guitar. I'm making this look very easy, and it actually is very easy when you've perfected it. But if you try to turn the A around, you'll only get to about 3 frets. And on top of that, you won't be able to change in fast. If you can get the 3rd finger to bend backwards, you can see how easy I'm making this look. This is the most difficult part of this program. Get your 3rd finger a couple of times a day, bend it back and hold it there. That's the quickest way to get it. Don't do this. Just bend it and just hold it with a little bit of pressure. And every day, Paul has it there. That's very good, Paul. And you can try putting it on the guitar. You'll see that that bend is needed to get the bar finger over. I'll just give you all 1 minute on it, and I've one more skill to show you with chord hand, and then we're on the rhythm hand and songs for the rest of the night.
You know that song, Dirty Old Town? It's a G and C. I was actually doing that and just bending my little finger on the C there, the same 3rd fret, and it was working for me.
That's really good, Michael. So the bar finger touches the 6th string all the way down to mute it. When we're playing C's and D's, the thumb is touching the top string, as you can see here, is touching the top string. But when we're doing bar chords, the thumb is low, so we don't have the thumb to do that job. Instead, the tip of the 1st finger does the job for us. And there's one exception to that. When you're on the 7th fret, if you watch my finger closely, you will see that it releases the 6th string on the 7th fret. Because that string is an E note, but these are all E-shaped chords on the 7th fret. This is E major 7. So if I strum it, can you hear the low 6th string complementing that? In the same way, when you're playing A minors and C's up here, the thumb is on top. When you go to the E's, the thumb comes off because the 6th string complements all the E's. Eric Clapton played a song called Cocaine, and in the E he has this power sound. So I'm playing the chord with this bent back 3rd finger, but I'm clearly leaving the 6th string open to get that. And when he came off it, he muted. Once you're on the 7th fret, you bring the 6th string open with all these chords to get your power sound. Could we set up a G bar chord? I'm barring my 1st finger across the 6 strings on the 3rd fret. 2nd finger is on the 3rd string on the 4th fret. And the 3rd and little should be starting to work together. I'm hoping you have your claw. The 3rd finger is up on the 5th string, 3rd fret, and the little finger is on the 4th string. If that's too hard, you can do the power chord, which is the top end of it. You have the power chords as plan B if this is still too hard. I don't want you to press the strings yet. I want you to just lightly touch the strings. And as I strum down, you'll see the way I was able to press in and release. And release. Could we practice that? Just press on the way down and release with an upstroke on this side to match. If we could mute all the strings for a second and get our rolling rhythm going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1. So you're going to be working on rhythms for the rest of the class, but we don't want something like that. We want to try and keep this hand going at all costs. The first rhythm we're going to do is a reggae rhythm. It's going to be a vamp on the second beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope that's coming in on your screen now. It's actually downstrokes with a vamp on the third string. If you could practice that for 1 minute on your own. I'll play it slowly just to let you hear what it sounds like. So if you could do your best even to do that slowly. The second rhythm has a mute and a vamp. The mute we did 2 weeks ago when there was no sound. Your first downstroke, and then there's no actual sound on the second one, and then there's a vamp on the way up. The vamp is when you press, and the mute is when you do the strum with no sound. This one would sound like. If I stay with the first 3 parts of it, down, mute, and vamp the upstroke. And down, mute, vamp, and down. Because this is new to everyone, I think it would be a good idea just to stay with the first 3 or 4 arrows of this rhythm only. Don't go into the rest of it. Just at this point, see can you get a handle on how to mute and how to vamp at the same time. If I speed up this rhythm, this is how this will sound when you get it right. The third rhythm vamps the 2 upstrokes. The black arrow is a louder strum. You don't have to do this, but it actually makes it easier to get your beat as you come around to get that loud strum, and it sounds better. The upstrokes is where you will get the vamp starting. If you want to try and do all of that rhythm, it's fairly straightforward. And you could also do it without the vamps. It will sound like this. And then try to add the vamps then after a while. This is a reggae rhythm. You can use it. We'll be again using Bob Marley's Waiting in Vain because you're familiar with it. But it's tricky. It's on the off beat. It's in between the beats. Just watch carefully. You'll see that I'm not actually doing 4 downstrokes like this. That won't get it. I'm actually strumming to my rolling move. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is easy enough to crack, but it sets you up for all of the other rhythms. I'm going to do this very, very slowly on screen, keeping it going. If you can join in with me, that would be awesome. Even if it's this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Even if you could roll it along, it's important that you don't do that because it will not be in time. It's just not possible. When you're strumming this, my fingers are not pressing down here. They're actually just sitting on the strings. And if you watch closely, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll see that the fingers press for the vamp only. I'm going to do this very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jim, you're doing well there, but you need to get it every second one. I'll just mime you on screen. You're vamping every time, but if you watch what I did, I missed, then I vamped, missed, vamped. When we're doing bar chords, it's really the rhythm hand that sets bar chords off. There should be no cramp tonight because we now know how to vamp. The cramp issue should be gone. If you could watch my guitar for a minute, I'm just going up to G sharp, the chord we had when we played Waiting in Vain a few weeks ago. And we changed last week down to this little C major 7 when we had the second set of bar chords to change into. That song, it'll be linked to the original version of it, and the strum pattern was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They were the chords for Waiting in Vain. The song we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Take a Walk on the Wild Side by Reid. In lesson 2, we worked on a chord change from C to an F bar chord. The secret was not to move the third finger. And if you found the bar chord too much to do, you could actually just drop in the little finger and bring up the first finger and strum 3 strings, just the power chord. This is your plan B until such time as you get a handle on your full bar chords. C to F is difficult enough still, but it's a reasonable stepping stone to being able to change from C to these chords up here. From C, we brought the second finger down a string. We added the little finger on the 4th string, and we dropped the thumb to be able to bar across. The 3rd finger didn't move. And back to C. If my thumb is on top, I'm not able to do an F right now if I don't do the thumb correctly. It's not physically possible. It has a very distinct vamp rhythm in it. I just want to tell you something very important about vamping here before we go into this. When we vamp a 6-string bar chord, it's very easy to take the sound completely out of it. When you do that with, say, a D, do you hear the strings ringing that you don't want to ring when you're trying to vamp? Or say a C chord, I'm vamping, but you can still hear strings ringing. If you copy me from a C, I'm going to just turn these fingers down to touch the strings underneath. This is how you vamp open chords, and you will need this skill because so many songs are a combination of bar chords and open chords. So watch what I'm going to do here. And now I take all the strings out. See? Everything is out. It's not enough to actually lift, release. You're releasing and turning the hand down to take them out. This song is a very distinct example of that. Seamus has it. Very good, Seamus. And don't worry if it's too difficult. You will have your power chords as plan B while you're waiting to get good at bar chords. And even if it takes 6 months, if you keep at it, you will crack bar chords. My rhythm hand is not going to go. That sounds kind of right, but it's nowhere near on time. This hand has to keep rolling along all the time. So the start will be, that's the first vamp. Then there's a little up down with a vamp, and another up down with a vamp. I think if we stayed with that much of the rhythm, instead of trying to put it all together, a good approach would be to work on half of the rhythm on its own, and you'll see that that makes it gettable. It would sound like this. I hope you can all follow the detail. I've even put the little pulse in underneath, 1, 2, 3, 4, which helps enormously. And these are precisely where they would be in the rhythms. Then it will change to the F bar chord. And if you watch this hand, it keeps going like this. It's precisely in time. That pulse is always there. That's your foundation for every song on guitar. It's underneath the actual rhythm that people hear, that rolling move. If you don't believe me, turn on any video of any successful artist anywhere in the world and you will see that move. If it's lead guitar, you'll see a miniature of that. If it's metal, it'll be about half of it, or hard rock. And if it's full on rhythm, it's the full version. There's a little bit of the song goes from C to D minor to F to D minor. And I just want to show you a little move that will help you with that. We all know D minor. And when you're changing to a bar, we will start by taking off the third finger only. Then lower your thumb at the back. And you will see that it's easier to bar across 6 strings then. And the third and little fingers should come in together onto the 5th and 4th strings. This finger hasn't moved. That's the key. If you watch the second finger here, when I'm changing back to D minor, that finger hasn't moved. And that makes a difficult chord change very, very easy. Do you see, I'm able to go back and forward without moving it. From D minor to F. At the back, when it goes to D minor, the thumb comes up. F, the thumb comes down. Bob Dylan's Lay Lady Lay we touched on as well. We'll go to an A bar chord because it's the first chord in this song. If we can get our claw, and if we can come from underneath at the guitar with the bar finger coming up on the 5th fret. Can you see the way I'm doing this? A lot of the work is done before I arrive at the guitar. Then the second finger is on the 3rd string, it's up 1 fret. And the third and little, if you're still clawed, should be starting to drop on together on the 5th and 4th strings. If I back off camera here, watch the way my hand works. I'm not just arriving and trying to do this and this and this. My hand is clawed subconsciously. Do you remember the 4-step exercise, the one where we literally clawed? Your hand will do that without even thinking about it. When you're going for the bar chord, your bar finger comes up across from underneath at the fret it's supposed to be on. And the other 3 fingers automatically follow somewhere close. So they have very little work to do. You see, my hand is almost looking like a bar chord. And it comes up on the fret. So there's none of this. Let's not vamp for a second. We'll just go down, down, up, up, down. And I'll just keep this going and you can strum with me. Down, up, up, down. You're doing great, John. We'll just stop there. The cramp has set in hard on my hand because there was no vamp in it. You'll feel it if you're cramping. That's just human nature. It's not possible. So we have to vamp. And even that one vamp in this releases enough to be able to play this for a good few minutes without getting tired. The rhythm sounds like this. Kevin, you're doing very well. I can see how your chord hand is more clawed. And Seamus, you're doing very well there too. Very good wrist position. Very good, Seamus. Top drawer, John. You're going to open up a whole lot of new songs from this. Very good, Michael. You need to retain the chord shape from the A to the C sharp minor, which was back a fret and down a string when we looked at this last week. That was the second chord. From A, we came back one fret and down a string, but ideally you would go directly down into it with the sixth string muted because it's an A minor shape you're using there. And for the G bar chord, you're going back a fret and up a string, barring 6 strings. And for the B minor, you're going back a fret and down a string. Again, tipping the 6th string to mute it. That's the A, first finger is across 6 strings. C sharp, it's tipping the 6th. To G, it's up across the 6 again. And to the B minor, it's muting. I'll just strum that section once. And that chord sequence repeated over and over is a lot of the song. It's all the intros and instrumentals and verses. Very good, Sarah. Technically 100% correct what I'm seeing there. That's very good. Yeah. Good, Gemma. I just noticed your little and third finger, a gap appeared between them. They need to be kept literally embedded together for all those bar chords. So that those 2 fingers, your brain thinks it's 1 finger. Your brain thinks it's controlling 3 fingers rather than 4. It's much easier to do that. Yeah. Well, one of the reasons the claw works is when I was looking at Gemma's hand, her fingers were separating the third and little so that you can see that the bar chord actually feels like 3 fingers. You can experiment with this, just moving your fingers around, but you'll find it much easier to control if you keep the top end of the third and little fingers connected. Enormous improvement, Arthur. You're more than halfway to cracking bar chords. Jim, your thumb is a bit high for bar chords. I shouldn't be able to see the top of it. Down there for bar chords and up here for the D's and C's and G's. Most of your music is that thumb position, which is absolutely correct for all of these chords. But once you go into bar chords, it's a different thumb position. E chord. In lesson 1, we turned these 3 fingers around to play E with the 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. And the reason it's important tonight is because there's a little part of Bob Dylan's Lay Lady Lay where it goes from E to F sharp minor. And I'm going to slide this chord up 2 frets with the bar chord trailing. And I've barred on the 2nd fret and just popped this finger out to an F sharp minor. Did you see how easy I made that difficult chord change? I'll do it again. E. Sliding up 2 frets with the bar following in behind and taking off the 2nd finger. That gives us F sharp minor. Another secret to bar chords. If you watch me on screen, can you see the way the guitar is tilted back, which is ideal for D's and C's and G's, but that doesn't work for bar chords because I now have to hook that hand an awful lot. My guitar isn't straight, but it's almost straight, which makes it much easier to play a bar chord. It's nearly straight, and that's totally consistent with coming up from underneath. If we can all lean the guitar forward, I will guarantee you that you will find your bar chords easier to play. Do you remember the thumb on top? Can you see how that's consistent with the guitar tilted back for your C's and D's? Perfect technique. And when the thumb goes down, if you can slide the guitar forward, again, that's perfect for bar chords. Tilt it back with the thumb coming up. Lean forward with the thumb going down. If you don't believe that, let me play a little bit of a song that combines open chords with barre chords. You can see how straight the guitar is for the barre chords. So I'm on an A here, playing it with one finger, and my guitar is angled back. And on the barre chord, I'm gone very straight here again. It's angled back. And to get the barre chord, I'm leaning forward. In your worksheet, there will be a song called Hotel California by the Eagles, with the video and all embedded for you to practice. I wasn't going to show you the chords for these. I was going to see who is listening to me and who is not, so that you would have to figure out this B minor and F sharp yourself. But everyone is doing quite well and actually knows how to figure this out. So I've put them in the sheet after it, but I'm hoping that you would test yourself to see how much have you got from this program by guessing, to see, can you find the B minor? Can you find the F sharp and the A barre chord? And then you could go to the next page. There they are in the graphs, and also to confirm that they will be embedded in video, but this is a nice acoustic or electric guitar rhythm version here. The most important thing that we have done in this program is what we did in the first 5 minutes on the first night, which is your claw. Everything you do comes back to this. It makes your journey easier. It speeds up your chord changing. It helps you to vamp. But claw is number one. Particularly take note of the thumb. Some of you, the thumb is still falling a bit left. But you see the way the thumb is? If I put a guitar in between these fingers, it would sit on a perfect G barre chord or an A minor barre chord. It would sit perfectly. But that, above all else, is the secret. And I would also say then approaching guitar neck from underneath would come in just after that. Those two things makes it a lot easier. And that's it. Well done, everyone. I can't thank you all enough for staying with me on this and for trusting me. You can unmute yourselves if you want to. And if you have any questions or issues, please ask me.
Well, it's made a daunting...
I hope it wasn't too difficult.
No, it's made a daunting subject, Pádraig. You've made it as easy to understand as could be.
I appreciate that. I work hard in my teaching, and you're not under pressure time-wise because the playbacks are awesome.
Yeah.
Michael, you did very well there tonight.
Oh, thank you very much, Pádraig. I hope you saw.